Have you ever seen an animal in trouble and felt that deep, gut-wrenching urge to help? That's exactly what happened on a seemingly ordinary day along the Florida coastline, a day that would turn a few beachgoers into unexpected heroes. It all started with a strange shape bobbing in the waves, far from shore. At first, people thought it might be debris, maybe a log tossed about by the current. But as it drifted closer, a heart-stopping realization dawned on everyone watching. It wasn't a log. It was a living creature, and it was in serious trouble. The animal was a manatee, a gentle giant of the sea, and it was tangled in something terrible. A mess of old fishing nets and plastic ropes had wrapped around its massive body and, most critically, its powerful tail fluke. Every time it tried to swim, the net pulled tighter, dragging it down. It was exhausted, barely able to keep its snout above water to breathe. You could see the panic in its movements, the slow, desperate struggle for life. The crowd on the beach grew, their casual afternoon stroll turning into a scene of hushed concern. Phones came out, not just to record, but to call for help. The local wildlife rescue hotline was ringing off the hook. Among the onlookers was a man named David, a retired firefighter who spent his mornings walking this very stretch of sand. He'd seen his share of emergencies, but this was different. He watched the manatee's labored breaths and knew that time was running out. Official help was on the way, but the tide was turning, threatening to pull the exhausted animal further out to sea, where a rescue would become nearly impossible. He looked around at the faces in the crowd, a mix of tourists, locals, and families. He saw the same worry in their eyes that he felt in his own heart. He couldn't just stand there. He had to do something. Without a second thought, David waded into the cool Atlantic water. A young woman, a college student named Maria studying marine biology, was right behind him. "I've got a pocket knife," she called out. Soon, two more men, brothers on vacation from Ohio, joined them. They didn't have a plan, just a shared, unspoken mission to keep that manatee from being swept away. The four of them formed a human chain, battling the waves to reach the struggling giant. The water was up to their chests, the current stronger than it looked. But they pushed on, their determination a silent promise to the creature in distress. Reaching the manatee was like approaching a small, submerged car. It was huge, much bigger up close than it appeared from the shore. The poor animal was so tired it barely reacted at first, its eyes clouded with exhaustion and fear. The net was a nightmare. It was a thick, tangled mess, cutting into its skin in several places. The ropes were wrapped so tightly around its tail that it was completely immobilized. David and the others knew they couldn't cut it free on their own without risking further injury to the manatee or themselves. Their job now was to be an anchor. They positioned themselves around the gentle giant, using their combined strength to hold it steady against the relentless pull of the ocean, a living, breathing breakwater. Back on shore, the crowd was no longer just watching. People were coordinating. Someone ran to a nearby tackle shop and came back with a pair of heavy-duty cutters. Another person, a nurse, had a first aid kit ready, just in case any of the rescuers got hurt. It was an amazing sight, a community of strangers, all working together, all focused on this one precious life. They relayed information to the incoming rescue team, giving them precise coordinates and updates on the manatee's condition. The minutes felt like hours. The rescuers in the water were getting cold and tired, but they didn't let go. They talked to the manatee in soft, calming voices, as if to let it know that help was here, that it wasn't alone anymore. Then, a new sound cut through the air, the drone of a motor. The official wildlife rescue boat was finally arriving. A cheer erupted from the beach. The boat, manned by trained professionals from the state's Wildlife Commission, skillfully navigated the shallow waters. They were equipped with specialized tools and, more importantly, years of experience. The volunteer rescuers in the water carefully guided the team toward the manatee, explaining what they had observed. The professionals were incredible. With practiced efficiency, they assessed the situation, their movements calm and deliberate. The lead rescuer, a woman named Dr. Evans, leaned over the side of the boat. She spoke to the volunteers, thanking them for their bravery. "You all did the right thing," she said. "You kept him stable and safe. Now, let us take it from here." The team got to work with long-handled cutting tools designed specifically for this purpose. It was a slow, delicate process. They had to be incredibly careful not to cut the manatee's skin. Snipping through the thick, waterlogged ropes was tough work. Every cut was precise. With each piece of net that fell away, you could almost feel the collective sigh of relief from everyone watching. The most difficult part was the rope tangled around the tail. It had dug in deep, and freeing it required surgical precision. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the last piece of rope was cut. The massive net floated free, a grim reminder of the dangers our waste poses to wildlife. The manatee, now untangled, floated motionlessly for a moment. Was it okay? The crowd held its breath. Then, with a powerful, graceful flick of its newly freed tail, it took a deep breath and dove beneath the surface. It reappeared a few yards away, as if to say thank you, before turning and swimming slowly but steadily toward the calmer waters of a nearby bay. The cheer that went up from the beach was deafening. People were hugging, crying, and applauding the heroes in the water and on the boat. The 4 volunteers, David, Maria, and the 2 brothers, waded back to shore, exhausted but beaming. They were met with pats on the back and heartfelt thanks from the crowd. They weren't looking for praise, they were just ordinary people who chose to act. They saw a problem and decided to be part of the solution. The rescue team brought the tangled net ashore. It was a shocking amount of debris, a heavy, sad trophy of the day's events. Dr. Evans explained that this manatee was lucky. Many aren't. Entanglement in fishing gear and marine debris is one of the biggest threats these gentle animals face. This incredible rescue is a powerful reminder of what we can achieve when we come together. It started with a few people who refused to be bystanders. Their courage inspired a whole community to get involved, creating a chain of compassion that saved a life. It also serves as a stark warning. The net that trapped this manatee is just a tiny fraction of the pollution in our oceans. Every piece of trash we leave behind, every discarded fishing line, has the potential to cause immense harm. What can we do? We can participate in beach cleanups. We can be responsible with our trash and fishing gear. And if you ever see an animal in distress, call your local wildlife rescue hotline immediately. You can be the first link in that chain of survival. This story from a Florida beach isn't just about saving one manatee. It's a story about the best of humanity, our capacity for empathy, our courage in the face of a challenge, and our ability to unite for a greater good. Let's carry that spirit forward, not just for the manatees, but for all the creatures we share this beautiful planet with. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that inspire. Let's all be a force for good.